Wagwan. Good morning, good night. Welcome back. And if you're listening for the first time, I'm your host, Melanie Byfield, welcoming you to another episode of The Real Situation, where we give you a taste of Jamaican politics. What an amazing time in sports right now. May saw the Arsenal become Premier League champions after 22 years. Last night, the New York Knicks did it in 5 and became NBA champions after 53 years. Big up Jalen Brunson and his Jamaican roots. And the World Cup is being played. I saw an article recently that said the Reggae Boys need to play like the US men's national team. No! Play like Brazil. Certain level of easiness and then turn up that backside. 100! Like Vinny Jr.'s goal at the New Jersey-New York Stadium yesterday. Yeah, you heard me. The New Jersey-New York Stadium. Yeah, that goal was my favourite so far, actually. Okay. On a more somber note, sending condolences to Marlene Malahoo Fort, former Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for St. James West Central, on the passing of her husband, retired Justice Ian Fort, who was a distinguished former president of the Court of Appeal. A little bit about Justice Fort. He enjoyed a legal career spanning more than 5 decades and held some of the highest judicial offices in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. He served as Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions from 1977 to 1988 before joining the Court of Appeal, where he served from 1988 to 1989. He later became president of the Court of Appeal, and he retired from there in 2005. Okay, class is in session. Bing-a-ling, bing-a-ling-a-ling. Festival finalists were announced. I love that tune there. Yes, it's that time of year when we festival, songs come out and we head towards independence, but we still have a king as head of state. So where are we going? Drivers, when you jump in your car and you go somewhere different than you intended, let's remember where we are going on this road to Republic. Or not. In a Gleaner article in December 2025, Dr. Lloyd Barnett said, the former Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs promoted a video which depicted a decorated vehicle proceeding at good speed on a beautiful and smooth highway towards the Republican terminal. This image is unrealistic and misleading. The true picture is of a dented vehicle driving slowly up a hilly and rugged road with several impeding potholes. We now need a roadmap, skillful driving, and concentrated attention to navigate the obstacles so as to reach our destination safely and without undue delay. Roadmap, skillful driving, concentrated attention to navigate the obstacles. True Jamaican restaurant style. We not have that. Let's get back to focusing on the main issues, though, as previously summarised by Dr. Lloyd Barnett. The Constitution was applied to Jamaica on attaining independence in 1962. It still bears the symbols of colonisation and the scars of imperialism, and there are 3 main issues, right? Number 1. It designates the head of the British royal family as Jamaica's head of state. Number 2, it was contained in an imperial instrument. He goes on to say, in fact, it's not even the principal part of that instrument, but it's an appendix to it. There is no reference to the Parliament or people in Jamaica as giving their approval of it. It declares itself to have been made by the then English monarch on the advice of her Privy Council at Buckingham Palace, which didn't include any Jamaican. And the third issue is the final determination of legal issues arising in Jamaica's courts are subject to the final appellate jurisdiction of His Majesty's Privy Council. There is a Jamaican case that was recently granted permission to be appealed to the Privy Council, and that is Lisa May Gordon versus the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council. The issue: did the General Legal Council and Court of Appeal that is, did they make an mistake in finding the appellant attorney who acted for the vendor of a property owed a duty of care to the property's prospective purchasers and negligently breach it? And here are the facts, and I got all this information from the Privy Council's website. So the facts are: Lisa May Gordon, who is the appellant is a Jamaican attorney at law. She agreed to act for Mrs. Kathleen Robinson and her son, Mr. Howard Robson, in respect of a property transaction. The transaction concerned certain land at Orange Grove on Jamaica's north coast, which is said to be owned by Mrs. Robinson. The purchasers were Mr. and Mrs. Barron and Charmaine, and they paid Mrs. Gordon $35,000 by way of a deposit. The appellant transferred this money to Mr. Jobson, and the Barnetts then became aware they had concerns about the transaction. They discovered that Mrs. Robinson wasn't entitled to sell the Orange Grove land because it was the subject of an injunction. So Mr. and Mrs. Barnett made a complaint to the General Legal Council alleging that Mrs. Gordon had agreed to act for them and Mrs. Robinson. They alleged that she failed to warn them that Mr. Jobson had no right to sell the Orange Grove land and was negligent. Mrs. Gordon's defence was that she was not Mr. and Mrs. Barnett's attorney and only acted for the vendor. The General Legal Council upheld Mr. and Mrs. Barnett's complaint, barred Mrs. Gordon from practicing as an attorney for 6 months, and ordered her to pay a fine of $35,000. This finding and penalty were upheld on appeal by the Court of Appeal of Jamaica. The appellant now appeals to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. The justices are Lord Briggs, Lord Stevens, and Lady Rose. So I'll be following that case and keep you updated. But yeah, speaking of symbols of colonisation, there was a parliamentary session recently where Nikisha Burchell referenced what Michael Manley used to wear when the Speaker reminded a parliamentarian about his dress code. He was wearing a collarless shirt. Right now, Michael Manley famously wore a two-piece kariba, right? And then I found a little bit of information on that. So it's actually a two-piece suit for men that was created by Jamaican designer Ivy Ralph, who is the mother of Cheryl Lee Ralph. It was created back in the early 70s to be worn on business and formal occasions as a Caribbean replacement for the European-style suit and as a visual symbol of decolonisation. Now, a dress code didn't exist when Michael Manley was Prime Minister, right? Between 1972 and 1980, and between 1989 and 92. And it didn't exist in the original 1964 standing orders, right? The standing orders were actually amended in 2014 following a motion by Everald Warmington, regarding the dress code, and then it then became Section 84A. And it basically says that, so his motion mentioned that the dress of members and other users of the House must at all times reflect sobriety in order to maintain the dignity and decorum of the House. And basically it says that members of the House or committees should wear a business suit and necktie for men, and a sleeved business dress or skirt suit of modest length or pantsuit for women, and that visitors to the House or staff are required to comply with the dress code, which is announced by the clerk acting under instructions of the Speaker. So what did Michael Manley have to say about dress code? Now, Michael Manley wrote a book called The Politics of Change, and I'm going to read a quote on dress code from that book. It says, there are those who would delude themselves into feeling that concern with styles of dress is a childish waste of time. Not so. It is by no means the beginning or the end of the problem, but it has its place. If you live, for example, in a tropical country, you've made a number of unconscious concessions. First of all, you've adopted as your own a dress of style that is not suited to your climate. This would be the first act of psychological surrender, since common sense would dictate that a style of dress should reflect the reality of the physical environment. Further, the very fact that you did not question the relevance of another man's style of dress to your physical environment is a confession of a paralysis of judgment. This dress code thing has been, ongoing. It's nothing new. And basically, I think Senator Shireen Golding Campbell made an appropriate comment when she said that what is appropriate conduct, what is the appropriate conduct when we enter public buildings. So I also think that has to be taken into consideration. So, but I'm with Michael Manley on that paralysis of judgment. So, yeah, that whole dress code thing, that's a whole nother episode by itself. Okay, so back to eradicating symbols of colonization. Some might argue we're getting there slowly. There is the Pledge of Allegiance that was changed to a pledge to Jamaica instead of to the British monarch, and then there was what is referred to as a superficial removal of the words of enactment, because the Governor-General still needs to sign a bill on behalf of the King. So where are we? Delroy Chuck wants to wheel and come again-ish, kind of, sort of. He recently said in an article that I'm going to share with you, Delroy said, "For Jamaica's sake, let's look at the bill and see how it can be amended if necessary and modified so that this Parliament at the earliest possible time can debate and remove the monarch." He insisted that there is no need to delay this constitutional reform process, going on to say, "I urge, and this Parliament must urge and invite the opposition leader to let us restart the constitutional process. Talk to the leader of the opposition, all of you over there, and let us get on with the job." So in response, Mark Golding, in this Glean article, said that he was still waiting for the opportunity to discuss the matter with the Prime Minister to see what areas of common ground we can identify, and if there is a possibility of resolving the major issues where there are differences. The article goes on to say that one of the sticking points between the governing Jamaica Labour Party and the main opposition, People's National Party, is what should be recognised as Jamaica's final appellate court. The JLP being in favour of keeping the Privy Council and the PNP wanting to substitute it with the Caribbean Court of Justice, noting that there are several possibilities, in quotes, for the country's final appellate court. The Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister suggested that Jamaica could emulate Hong Kong, where, according to him, the apex court consists of international and Hong Kong-based judges. I don't mind if the final appellate court in Jamaica is 5 Caribbean judges sitting, but it must be a Jamaican final court, Chuck insisted. I don't know about you, but I love Jamaica. Yeah, next nice tune from that festival, one of the festival finalists. Don't love the bill or that vision of a Jamaican court by Mr. Chuck, though. The bill had numerous issues, and there are serious objections to a final court in Jamaica, especially the fact that Jamaica paid millions of dollars, millions towards that court. Dready got a job to do. In 2022, PM told William and Kate that we're moving on. The job ain't done. A roadmap is needed, which must include turning up public education 100%. Need for put on some skillful driving, give concentrated attention to navigate the obstacles, and appreciate that this road to becoming a republic will stay full of potholes, unless there's a non-partisan approach to Jamaica becoming truly independent. No offence, Mr. Chuck, but right now, for Jamaica's sake, this journey needs to be restarted with a meeting between the two leaders, Andrew and Mark, PM and OPL. Remember, if you're not registered to vote, September 30, 2026 is the deadline to register for the November 30th voters list. You can find this podcast on YouTube, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Podcast Index, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Apple, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And if you want to reason about anything or can't find any of the material I was talking about, you can email me on melanie.atasteofja@gmail.com. That's melanie.atasteofja@gmail.com. So until the next time, thank you for supporting this podcast. Please subscribe, like, follow, and share it with your family and friends. And again, I thank you for taking the time to listen. One love. Yes, the word is love.